Welcome to play 2 of the second defensive series. I am now in a nickel set. He has 3 wide receivers, so I call the nickel so that I match up personnel with him. I'm in a cover 3, so same basic defense. I do run a lot of coverage. If I feel I have to mix it up, it just depends on the player that I'm playing. If they're carving up my zone, then yeah, I'm going to have to mix it up. I'm going to throw some man, throw some blitzes, give some zone blitzes. But if I'm playing a guy and I feel like my coverage is doing a good job, then I'll stay with coverage. So in this case, so far at least, the couple plays that have actually been run, coverage has been great. I've had one interception and one near interception. In this case, on his offensive drive or his offensive play, he's running a go route here. I don't know what the play's name is in the game, but it actually, to me, looks like it's a curls play that's actually been adjusted to have 3 go routes. So he has a fade or 2 fades or 2 goes and a seam. He actually has his back running an arrow route here, and his number 2 receiver, is running a slant. Now in this case, I don't feel threatened by the deep cover or the deep routes at all. My safety can adjust over to the tight end. Each of my corners can lock up on their deep routes respectively because there's no other threats other than the 3. On the flat here, my flat defender will attack or should attack that flat. Now his most dangerous route is this slant route here. As I've told you before, when I'm using this defender and I'm using this guy just for this purpose, I'm going to gain depth to try to take away this route long enough to be able to pass it to the safety, to give the safety a chance to come over to help. The moment I see that I have a threat coming into my zone, I'll break off and attack it. Now, if I don't get there in time, he can get underneath on this and make a big play. The other thing is, if he has a lot of time, because of this out route here, forcing him to widen out even more, this defender may actually tighten up just a little bit because he has no other threat in his zone. So depending on what he does, he could just kind of hitch up and sit. If he has enough time, this route can get all the way across the field. Now I will say this, in this case, because I break off, once I break off and I see no other threat to the inside, I'm going to keep going with them. The problem is, this is a wide receiver. I'm using a linebacker. Speed kills. So I may not be able to keep up with them. So let's watch the play now, see what happens, and then we'll discuss. Alright, he's making his little adjustment there. So right off the bat, he's covered. He's covered obviously by me. I'm about to break off here, but as you can see, once he releases, the safety will be right there. Here we have him just sitting in his little hook. He's gaining depth. He's a little too wide, to be honest. I don't like him there. I do have him here, but we have way too much separation. So if he were to actually throw this back here, he'd probably have himself a good 8 yards. Now, I make the decision to break off and to get into my zone because I see the threat. The moment I see it, the ball's in the air already. And boom. Should have been an interception. I actually did hit the triangle button, but for some reason, maybe I hit it too late, I don't know. Yeah, he didn't even try to get his hands up. But, I still made the deflection with my face. Everything else was covered. I think he could have hit this. If he'd hit this, he would have had to hit it in the window over here, the further window. But I probably would have tried to hit the safety valve on this a little early, right about there. And that probably would have been the best decision. He could have tried to force it to the tight end once I broke off. But there's no telling. Like I said, he was already throwing the ball because he thought he had this. I just happened to make the decision at just the perfect time, the right time in this case, to make that play. Okay, let's move on to the next.